Hello, my name is Loretta Dawolo Towns, and I'm an 8th grade English teacher. And I'm here to talk a little bit about race in a classroom. In the wake of the recent unrest in our country, especially subsequent to the murder of George Floyd, I believe that it's very important for us to begin to get comfortable with having these types of conversations in our class. And I invite you as an educator to think about the opportunity as one of co-creating this knowledge with your students. The teacher can actually be not only the teacher but also the student, right? That we could have a role of facilitating knowledge and presenting new perspectives and ideas and being able to admit to our students and be vulnerable to them that, I don't have all the answers, but let's learn together. Right? I think there's an opportunity for this sort of inquiry-based environment to take place in our classroom. So as an African-American woman, I have a lived experience with race, right? I'm married to an African-American man. I have 2 African-American male children. And so this is our lived reality, and I'm able to speak on these issues from experience. But that doesn't mean that you can't facilitate these important conversations. In our district, we've been very intentional about establishing a social justice theme of empathy as sort of a backdrop, a curricular backdrop of content in our classroom. And so with that theme of empathy, there is an important essential question that should be asked of the teacher as well as the student, especially since we're co-creating knowledge. That question is simply, what is your role, right? If we live in a racist society that we want to change, what is our role in changing the realities of that society? And there is an important text that we've been using. It's called All American Boys by Jason Reynolds and Brendan Kiley. This is a story of 2 teenage protagonists, 2 male protagonists, 1 African American, 1 white. These are regular teenagers. They go to high school. They talk about girls. They talk about their relationship with their siblings and their parents. But one day, the African American male gets into, unfortunately, experiences a police brutality incident. But with the other protagonist, the white male protagonist, he witnesses, unbeknownst to the victim, he witnesses this police brutality incident. What's unique about this story, which, that we've heard over and over again, is that we get the full perspective of the white male protagonist who is grappling with being loyal because the officer that he witnessed is a family friend. So should he be loyal to him, or does he adhere to his inhibitions that he feels about what he sees? He inherently feels that what he sees is wrong. So does he take on the responsibility of challenging his family friend and those around him, even himself? Or does he continue to be loyal to a person who he's known all of his life? A story like that helps us to humanize the issue of race. I love this text also because as we think about dismantling race and fostering empathy for our students, we're still mindful of standards, right? So I'm still mindful as an English teacher that I need to teach my students how to use text evidence, right? To cite their sources, to identify main idea and supporting details. So in the context of all of those different standards that I have to teach, the material that I'm using still deals with this issue of race and class and other injustices in our society. There are also in this text, All American Boys, some important contextual themes that that share in the meaning making of this text, right? And so themes like the civil rights movement, the prison industrial complex, the portrayal of African Americans in the media, the history of protest in this country. Those are all opportunities that I've taken to further educate students on, and then we can discuss how they show up in the text. By the time students finish reading this book, they have a wealth of knowledge around what it means to be Black in America, what this protagonist was feeling as a Black male who is grappling with what happened to him, but also the perspective of the white male who is trying to understand his role in all of it. And so I'm interested in teaching my students that they do indeed have agency, right? There is a role that we all have to play in making change in our society. There is something that we all can do. And I believe the story of All American Boys teaches us that. In particular, getting comfortable with talking about race and other social justice issues in the classroom affirms our students and prepares them to be the change agents that we need our leaders to be in the future. So it's a big responsibility, but one that is well worth it. I invite you to go along this journey with me to co-create meaningful knowledge in your classrooms and to be comfortable with talking about race. Be well.